Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates. And this evening we'll be having a look at the latest GFS, GM, Ecmwf and Gfs Ensembles, and then we'll have a look at the temperatures for next week and some precipitation charts as we are seeing a proper polar plunge coming in Easter Sunday night into Easter Monday. Now we've had a very pleasant day today and it's been around 20 degrees. Parts of the south and southeast are a bit more cloud than was initially forecasted, so some areas have stayed cloudy and a bit drizzly as well, but generally temperatures have been quite pleasant. And further north, we've seen the best of the sunshine there, so it's been very pleasant. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe, as it really does help me out. So currently we're having a look at the latest GFS run, and you can see a cold front is slowly sinking southwards from Scotland. It's going to introduce cooler air into the country, but nothing too substantially cold at this stage. You see, generally, the air does cool down from the north as we start to pull in sort of a northeasterly flow. Now, really, I'm going to remain on the temperature charts here because you can still see the general pressure pattern behind it. But it's really to watch this very dark blue and purple blob of cold air over Greenland. And you see the high pressure starts ridging towards Greenland. And you see this brutally cold air mass plunges out of Greenland come Sunday night into Monday. And it reaches the whole of the country during Monday. Yes, it does warm up quite significantly as it passes across the UK, but we're going to see a proper polar plunge where there is going to be widespread colder conditions with the threats of quite widespread hail, snow, sleet, growlpool, and of course rain showers. And we could again see some late winter or even spring, if you want to call it that, with these sort of conditions, snowfall. Especially over hills and even to low-lying areas could see some falling snow. Now, it's brutally cold air mass really going across the country. If this had come in winter, we wouldn't be seeing highs above freezing, but it's looking like at the moment highs are going to be around 5 or 6 degrees, and we do see showers. It does drop. It will drop quite quickly, and when you see sunshine, it maybe get up to 7 or 8 degrees. Everywhere, though, will feel quite cold in that northerly wind with its wind chill. Generally, beyond that, we maintain this northerly flow, but it does cut off from the brutally cold air by sort of Wednesday, Thursday. We remain in a fairly cold polar maritime air mass, which means the shower activity will reduce a little bit, but will still remain cool, maybe a touch warmer than on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And there still will be a decent chance of overnight frost. The air is still generally quite cold. This current GFS one is showing another blast of northerlies come Friday. It gets very cold again as the very cold air is just to our north. So all we do need is a brief northerly. And there's a little trough low pressure in there, and that could give a snow event come Friday into Saturday, which would be very interesting indeed. And on this latest GFS run, we remain fairly cold for the foreseeable future. But we do cut off that northerly and go more of a west to northwesterly airflow, which means although the air is reasonably cold, the -5 line gets close to the country, it's not brutally cold. Dew points will be higher, meaning overnight frosts will be fewer and far between, only for isolated spots, and it will generally be a little bit warmer, but still colder than average. Even towards the end of the run, we are still having this sort of northerly phase where we're seeing airflow coming from the north or northwest. It's very, very cold, and if we did see this pattern again in a January or February, or even December, we would be seeing a very cold period of weather lining up. Looking on this chart in April, it's looking like we could go perhaps 10 days where temperatures really don't get much above 10 degrees in many spots, which is very cold for April. If we now have a look at the GEM run, see if it's sort of parallel to the GFS or whether it's sort of shows a different pattern, especially towards daytime. So in the short term, we pull in that brutally cold northerly airflow. See, the -10 line gets through most of the country. It does fizzle out as it moves southwards, but generally the air will be cold, thickness levels will be low. 510 dam line looks like it could be getting through, which really shows how brutally cold the air mass is. Dew points well below freezing, getting down to -5 potentially, which means a lot of the precipitation falling out of the sky will have a wintry nature to it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be snow. just simply because the air mass is brutally cold upper airs and a little bit milder towards the surface, so it's more likely to be seeing sleety, growlpool, hail in low-lying areas, and mostly snow over hills and during the night. But we generally remain in this northerly airflow with this GM run. We do wrap some milder air in there, but then we do get that other northerly blast on Friday. It's as potent as the northerly blast on Easter Monday, which is very interesting indeed coming from that. Be interesting if the Ecmwf backs that, and the Gfs Ensembles as well, but we maintain brutally cold, -10 line is through the country. Even towards day 10, so we're setting up a very cold week. It'd be very interesting to see whether the second northerly blast really does come off. If we now have a look at the Ecmwf, very similar pattern to the other two models, and we pull down that brutally cold northerly air mass. The Ecmwf was considering putting this colder air mass out a bit further into the Atlantic, but it is followed up with what the GM and the GFS is generally showing, which is the northerly blast over the top of the country. We maintain with that, and then we again get that second northerly blast towards Friday. Again, it's a little bit different shape of northerly blast, again more out in the Atlantic. Looks like the Ecmwf has been favouring that. I don't know why it has, but it is again showing a sort of another northerly blast, which again could provide again more widespread snow and hail, growlpool showers, so a lot of winteriness, and perhaps quite a few overnight frosts, even to sort of not only rural areas, but to even urban areas as well. Central London could be seeing an overnight frost or two within this colder week. So yeah, it could be quite damaging for gardens out there, so make sure if you do have any delicate plants that you have planted or you've got living in your garden, make sure you do cover them up or take them indoors. We'll now have a look at the GFS Ensembles, and you can see generally quite warm next day. Into tomorrow, upper air is still generally mild, but not quite as warm as they've been over the last couple of days. So highs tomorrow more around mid to high teens, so pleasant but nothing too warm. They stay around freezing to 2 or 3 degrees, which is good enough to give low teens, mid to mid-teens temperatures, which is fairly pleasant when we see the sunshine. And then Sunday night, Easter Sunday night, we get a massive drop-off. About a 15-degree cold front moves through, which could be fairly active. It's difficult to say at the moment, as it's not come into the high-resolution models time frame, but it could be quite an active cold front. It'll be interesting to see what sort of precipitation we do see along that, as it could be suppressing temperatures very quickly as that rattles through with squally winds and squally showers of mixed precipitation. But yeah, air temperatures generally get down to -10 at 850 hPa for about a day or two before they rise up again, and then we do see those couple ensemble members, including the GFS operational, going for a second northerly blast with the temperature drop down to -10 once again. Beyond that, into longer term, temperatures look like they're going to recover to around average, but nothing too warm or anything too brutally cold. Again, a few ensemble members are going for something similar to what we're going to see on Sunday. Others going for what we've had similar to the last couple of days. So nothing like 26, 27 degrees, and nothing that could give us extremely widespread snowfall. So generally just returning to around average, but at the moment, looking at the current pattern, I'd probably suspect that it will feel colder than average, as if we're pulling those northerly airflows, it will feel quite cool on the surface, regardless of where the upper airs do recover. On the surface, it still could feel reasonably cold. So very interesting to see with that. And you can see with the precipitation spike, we do have some quite big precipitation spikes when that cold front comes through. So those will be ones that have more active cold fronts. The ones with the smaller spikes will have more showery cold fronts, so it'll be interesting to see what really happens and what the high resolution models come off with. Generally in the longer term it's quite unsettled, nothing majorly unsettled, no massive spikes other than maybe a couple odd outliers like the GFS operational, which shows you even though it's going to be low pressure dominated, it's low pressure coming off the coming in from the north and the northwest, not coming in off the Atlantic where it's fueled more and has stronger weather fronts, which would provide sort of southwesterly winds with its warm and cold fronts. So although it's unsettled, it will be quite showery and unlikely to have massive washouts. But, I can't rule out a strong weather front coming through in the longer term. We'll just have to see what happens nearer the time. We'll now have a look at the GFS temperatures, and you can see at the moment, this afternoon got to around 20-21 degrees. Tomorrow, quite cold in Scotland as colder air is sinking in. Tomorrow, generally in the afternoon, around maybe 13, 14, 15 degrees, but as we've that northeasterly wind coming off the North Sea, especially areas in the north and towards the northeast coast and East Anglia, only 7, 8, 9 degrees. Elsewhere, you see lighter winds, perhaps 14, maybe 15 degrees. Best weather looks like it's going to be in Southern Ireland and parts of the southwest, maybe 16, maybe even 17 degrees. So fairly pleasant with that. And as we move into Friday, again, quite a cold night, widely maybe 2, 3 degrees, and overnight frost over some hills and some shelter spots. Friday afternoon, more widely 10, 11 degrees. There's no going to be real any warmth in the air with that northeasterly wind, but nothing too brutally cold at this stage. Saturday again, 10, 11, 12 degrees, maybe 14 or 15 degrees in Scotland as some warmer air comes in, or milder air comes in around the high pressure off the Atlantic. And then as we head into Sunday, last day of generally mild conditions, you can see very cold, 1, 2, 3 degrees over to the north of Scotland come Sunday afternoon, and maybe 13, 14 or even 15 degrees on Sunday, so it'll feel fairly pleasant. But overnight into Monday, you see that cold front sweeps through, goes from around 8, 9 degrees to 1 or 2 degrees in the space of about 50 miles. And then overnight to Monday, highs not getting above maybe 5 degrees on Monday, 5, 6, maybe even 7 degrees towards the southern coasts. Many areas where we see those showers rattle through, temperature's going to drop quite considerably and feeling a lot colder in the wind. Tuesday, a bigger, hard overnight frost, -2, -3 potentially, away from coasts really. Tuesday in the day, maybe 6 or 7 degrees, so a tad milder, but again, going to feel brutally cold. Wednesday, maybe 7 or 8 degrees as a bit milder air starts to spread in, maybe getting into 10 degrees along the south coast, and perhaps in Ireland as milder air does introduce itself. And towards Thursday, temperatures generally climb up a little bit, but still quite hard overnight frost. We won't go too beyond that, as it's still quite uncertain what will happen. We'll now have a look at the precipitation types very briefly, as I don't want to emphasize what they're showing, as it's still subject to change. You see the cold front sweep through Sunday night, quite active on this GFS run, showing even snow to low-lying southern England. It does overemphasize the showers sometimes, but Monday afternoon quite an active day for hail, sleet and snow showers, and then showers come mainly confined to the coast on Tuesday before they spread back inland for Tuesday afternoon, and generally you can see by Wednesday into Thursday we see like low pressure moving in, and we could be seeing a big snow event with that. So interesting to see what happens with that. Again, we'll have to see it more in the high resolution models. We briefly have a look at the GM run. You see the cold front spread southwards, generally rain on this GM run with snow behind it. And then beyond that, we get maintained sort of snow showers, potentially sort of streamers coming in from the north, and generally getting quite far inland, but doesn't overdo it like the GFS does. But still, decent chance. A lot of areas do see some snow or sleet, hail showers. So it does, regardless of where you are, I can't rule out you seeing some wintry showers. We now have a look at the icon model. This is a more high resolution model, but again, it's right at the end of its run, so it's not going to show it too well at this stage. You can see the cold front moving southwards, quite active cold front. Does fizzle out as it heads into France. Again, icon isn't the best with modelling at this stage, and showing how far snow showers come inland just generally shows you where convection will be. And as we head into Monday afternoon, it shows you generally on the coast, but you see the amount of white off the coast showing you the convection bubbling up. We had a similar scenario with this back in February when we had those easterly winds, very cold easterly winds, with the coldest February temperature for 50 years. We saw quite widespread snow coming inland, especially in eastern areas, whereas the icon hardly showed it coming inland at all. So it's just an issue the icon really has. So I suspect snow showers will be a lot more widespread than this is currently showing. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what can happen over the next 7 days with this polar plunge. Looks like temperatures will be definitely highs nothing above 5 or 6 degrees and quite widespread wintry showers. I do expect the Met Office to potentially be issuing snow and ice warnings. I don't expect anything to be above a yellow warning. I can't rule out an amber warning, perhaps parts of Scotland if they do see a convergence zone or streamer setting up. But at this stage, I'm expecting potentially quite widespread yellow snow and ice warning, just simply because it's April. People not expecting there to be icy mornings and hard overnight frosts. So I do expect, and we're coming more out of lockdown, so I do expect to see some yellow warnings enforced over the next couple of days. So it'll be interesting to see where they suspect the most showers will be and the coldest temperatures. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again for another video soon.